Hello and welcome to IMHO. Today I'm speaking to John Shehata about Google Discover, AI mode, and the impact on publishers. John has over 25 years digital marketing experience with top brands and Fortune 500s. He has serious creds as the former VP of Audience Development Strategy at Conde Nast, which includes titles such as Vogue, New Yorker, and GQ. And he was also a director at Walt Disney. Currently, John is the co-founder of Newzdash SEO Dashboard and the founder of News and Editorial SEO Summit. News publishers have been hammered with updates over the last 18 months, and add into that the introduction of AIO, and many publishers have significant traffic losses. Google recently announced that Discover will appear on desktop. And will this be a reprieve for publishers? And will it be enough for them to help them to gain some lost traffic? So hello, John, and welcome to IMHO.
Hi, Shelley. Thanks for having me. I'm very
It's
excited to be.
it's a pleasure, John. And so, John, please tell me, in your opinion, how much traffic for news publishers do you think has been impacted by AIO?
So, in general, there are so many studies are showing that um, sites are losing anywhere from 25 to 32% of all their traffic because of the new AI overviews. There is no specific study done yet for news publishers, so we are working on that right now. In the past, we did an analysis about a year ago where we found that about 4% of all the news queries generate AI overview. That was like a year ago, right? We are integrating a new feature in Newzdash where we actually track AI overview for every news query as it trends immediately. And we will see, but the highest penetration we saw of AI overview were in health and business. Health was like 26% of all the news queries generated AI overview. I think business, I can't remember specifically, but it was like 8% or something. Um, for big trending news, it was very, very small. So in a couple of months, we will have very solid data. But based on the study that I did a year ago, it's not as integrated for news queries except for specific verticals. But overall, right now, the studies show there is about a loss of anywhere from 25 to 32% of their traffic.
I mean, I know from my own experience as well that publishers are being really hammered quite
Yeah,
hard. No, obviously, not just by AIO, but also the many wonderful Google updates that we've been blessed with over the last 18 months as well.
yeah.
Um, I'll just pull in some stats. I was just doing some research for our chat, and I put here that you said that Google Discover is already the number one traffic source for most news publishers, sometimes accounting for up to 60% of their total Google traffic.
Yeah.
Based on current traffic splits, excuse me, of 90% mobile and 10% desktop, this update could generate an estimated 10 to 15% of additional Discover traffic for publishers. Do you think that Discover can actually replace all this traffic that has been lost by AIO? And do you think Discover is enough of a strategy for publishers to go all in on and for them to survive in this climate?
Yeah, this is a great question. So, yes. So I have this conspiracy theory that Google is sending more traffic through Discover to publishers as they are taking away traffic from search. It's like, you know what? Don't get so sad about this. Just focus here. Discover, discover, discover. Okay.
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong. The challenge is Google Discover is very unreliable, but at the same time, it's addictive, right? Publishers have seen 50, 60% of their traffic coming through Discover. This is new traffic that didn't have before 2018, and it keeps increasing, right? Especially in countries where Android is the dominant operating system, right? Because it's the default view. Like when you swipe, you will see Google Discover. So I think publishers are slowly forgetting about search and focusing more on Discover, which, in my opinion, is a very dangerous approach. I think Google Discover is more like a channel, not a strategy. So the focus always in the content, regardless what channel you're pushing your content into, social, Discover, search, and so on. The other thing also, I believe that Discover is an extension of search. So even if search is driving less traffic and Discover is driving more and more traffic, if you lose your status in search, eventually you will lose your traffic and Discover. And I have seen that we work with some clients where they went like very social heavy or Discover heavy kind of approach, you know, clicky headlines, short articles, publish in the next one and the next one. Within 6 months, they lost all their search traffic, they lost their Discover traffic, and no longer appear in news. So Google went to a certain point where they start evaluating, okay, this publisher is not a news publisher anymore. So it's a word of caution. You should not get addicted to Google Discover. It's not a long-term strategy. Squeeze every visit you can get from Google Discover as much as you can, but remember, all the traffic can go away overnight for no specific reason. We have so many complaints from Brazil and other countries where like people in April was like very big sites lost all their traffic and nothing changed in their technical, nothing changed in their editorial. So it's not a strategy. It's just a tactic for a short-term period of time. Utilize it as much as you can. I would think that the correct strategy is to diversify. Right now, Google is like 80% of publishers' content, including search, discover, and so on, right? And it's hard to find other sources because social has keep diminishing over the years, right? Like Facebook only contain traffic in Facebook. They try as best as they can LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on, right? So I think newsletters are very, very important, even if it's not sexy or it will not drive 80%. Other partnerships, and so on. I think publishers need like seriously consider how they diversify their content, their traffic, and their revenue streams.
Yeah, it's interesting that you touched on the newsletter, the direct relationship there. I've been for a very long time. I've been a huge protagonist of newsletters, and obviously they're very much in favor now. Um, but just coming back, because like you said, Discover, it's very precarious, much like Google searches. They're all channels that you don't own,
Yeah,
can be taken away at any time, which is obviously why email is so favored because it is much more stable relationship. But just shifting gears, I just wanted to have a chat with you about AI mode. I picked up
yeah,
something you said recently on LinkedIn. You said that AI mode could soon become the default SERP view. And when that happens, expect more impressions and much fewer clicks. So, on that basis, how do you expect the SERPs to evolve over the next year? Obviously, bearing in mind that publishers do still need to focus on SERPs.
yeah. I mean, AI mode, if you think about the evolution of SERP, right? We used to have the 10 blue links, and then Google recognized that that's not enough. So they created the universal search for us, right? Where you can have all the different elements, and that was not enough. So they start introducing feature snippets and direct answers, right? It's all about the user at the end of the day. And with the explosion of LLM models and ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all the stuff, and the huge adoption of users over the last 12 months, right? Google started introducing more and more AI. They started with SGE and evolved to AI overview, and recently they launched AI mode. So, and if you listen to Sundar, right, from Google, you hear the message is very clear. This is the future of search, right? AI is the future of search. It can be integrated in every product and search. This is going to be very dominant and so on. I believe right now they are testing the waters, right? To seeing is like, how do people interact with AI overviews? How many of them will switch to AI modes, right? Are they satisfied with the single like summary of an answer? And if they want to dig more, they can go to the citations or the reference sites and so on. I don't know when AI mode will become dominant, but if you go to Perplexity interface and how you search, and it's like it's a mix between AI and results. If you go to ChatGPT and so on, I think eventually, maybe soon or later, this is gonna be the new interface how we deal with search engines and generative engines as well. From all what we see. So I don't know when, but I think eventually we're gonna get there, especially knowing that Gen Z don't do much search, right? It's more conversational. So I think we're going to see it soon. I don't know when, but I think they are testing right now how users are interacting with AI mode and AI overviews to determine what are the next steps.
Yeah, I mean, I also picked up at something else you said as well, which was AI becomes the gatekeeper of SERPs. So, considering that LMs are not going to go away, AI mode is not going to go away. How are you actually tackling this with the brands, that you advise, etc.? What do you advise for brands, for publishers specifically?
Yeah. Yesterday I had a long meeting with one of our clients, and we were talking about all these different things. And I advise them the first step is they need to start tracking and then analyze and then react. Because I think reacting without having enough data, right? What is the impact of AI on their platform, on their sites and traffic? And traffic cannot be the metric, right? For generations now, it's like how much traffic I'm getting back. This has to change, right? Because in the new world, we will get less traffic. So for publishers that solely depend on traffic, this is going to be a problem, right? If you're a transactional site, you're selling stuff, right? You can measure your transactions or conversions regardless if you get traffic or not, right? ChatGPT is doing an integration with Shopify. Google AI Overview have direct links where you can shop through Google or through different sites, right? So it doesn't have to go through a site and then shop and so on. So I think you have to track, analyze where you're losing your traffic for publishers. Are these verticals that you need to focus on or not? You need to track your visibility. So now more and more people are, not a lot of people are searching for news, but I shared something on LinkedIn yesterday. If a user said mid gala 2025, right, Google will show them the top stories and all the news and stuff like this. But if you slightly change your query to say what happened at mid gala, what happened between Trump and Zelensky, what happened in that specific moment or event, Google now identifies that you don't want to read a lot of stories to understand what happened. You want a summary. It's like, okay, yesterday, this is what happened. That was the theme. These are the big moments and so on. And they give you references to go. More and more users will be like, just tell me the summary of what happened. And that's why we're going to see less and less impressions back to the sites. And I think also schema going to be more and more important. How ChatGPT find your content. I think more and more publishers will have like direct relationships or direct deals with different ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT and other LLMs need to pay publishers for the content that they consume, either for the training data or for like grounded data, like search data that they retrieve. I think there needs some kind of an exchange or revenue stream. That should be an additional revenue stream for publishers.
Yeah, I mean, that's the massive issue, isn't it? That news publishers are working very hard, producing high quality,
Yeah.
breaking news content, and the LLMs are just trading off that. If they're just going to be creating their summaries, but it does take us back, I suppose, to the very early days of Google, when everybody complained that Google was doing exactly the same. I mean, do you think news publishers need to change their strategy and the content they actually produce? Is that even possible?
I think they need to focus on content that adds value and add more information to the user, right?
Mm.
And this doesn't apply to every publisher because some publishers are just reporting on what happened in news. This celebrity did that over there. This kind of news probably is available in hundreds and thousands of sites, right? So you stop writing this content, Google and other LLMs will find that content in 100 different ways, right? And it's not like quality kind of content. But the other content where there's like a deep analysis of a situation or an event or hey, this is how the market is behaving yesterday. This is what you need to do. This kind of content, I think, will be valuable more than anything else versus just simply reporting. I'm not saying reporting will go away, but I think this is going to be available by so many like original and copycats that like just take the same article and keep rewriting it. And if Google and other LLMs are telling us we want quality content. That content is not cheap. Producing that content and reporting on that content and the media and so on is not cheap. So I believe there must be a way for these platforms to pay publishers based on the content they consume or get from the publisher, and even the cached content that they used in their training model. The original model was Google, hey, we will show one or two lines from your article, and then we will give you back the traffic. You can monetize it over there. This agreement is broken now. It doesn't work like before. And there are people like yelling, oh, you should not expect anything from Google. But that was the deal. That was the unwritten deal, right? That we, for the last two generations, last two decades, we were behaving on. So yeah, I think this is where we have to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult situation to navigate. I mean, I agree with you totally about the expert content. It's something we've been doing at SEJ. We're investing quite heavily in creating expert columns for really good quality, unique thought leadership content, rather than alongside just news cycle content. But yeah, this whole idea of LLMs are just they are just rehashing it. They are fully trading off other people's hard work. It's going to be
Yep.
quite a contentious issue over the next year, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But that's a much wider discussion for another
Yep.
time. I just wanted, obviously, we're just running short of time, so I just wanted to ask you really quickly because you touched on something before, which was interesting, and it was about tracking LLMs. And this is something that I've been doing with the work that I do, trying to track more and more more and more references,
Yeah.
citations in AI, and then referrals from AI. I know obviously you've got a tool, and what I find it really interesting, it must be very, very hard for tool companies right now because you actually originally developed Newzdash in 2014 and then launched it in 2020, which was well before AI came along. I don't think any of us really foresaw it would go in this direction so quickly. So over the last sort of year or two, how are you developing the tool to adapt for publishers as things are changing so quickly?
I think one of the things I'm doing is I meet with a lot of publishers. In any given week, I will meet for like maybe 10 to 15 publishers. And by meeting with publishers and listening to what's happening in the newsroom, what there are pain points, efficiency that they want to, work on and so on, that motivates us. That actually builds our roadmap. We have won so many prizes, and one of the ones that I personally admire for over the last 3 years, we won a lot of innovative, like best SEO tool innovation, because we listen and we're like on the pulse. For Newzdash, we have been tracking AI overview for a while, and we're launching this feature in a couple of months from now. So you can imagine that this is every term that you're tracking, including your own headlines and what they need to rank for. And then we can tell you for this term, AI overview is available there, right? And we estimate the visibility, how it's going to drop over there. But we can also tell you for a group of terms or a category, hey, you write a lot about iPhones. And this category is saturated with AI overview. So 50% of the time for every new iPhone trend, oh, iPhone 16e launch date. Yes, you wrote about it, but guess what? AI view is all over there and it's pushing that. So the tracking is very important. Then we're going to expand in other LLMs. So we're planning to track mentions and prompts and citations and references in ChatGPT, which is the major traffic driver, right? Not major traffic driver, the biggest LLM driver out of all, and then Perplexity and any other like big ones. I think it's very important to understand what's going on, and then based on the data, you develop your own strategy based on your own niche or your content.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for especially publisher SEOs right now is being fully informed and finding attribution for connecting to the referrals that are coming from AI traffic, etc. It's certainly an area I'm looking at. So for anybody who wants to find your tool, this is at newzdash.com, spelled with a Z, I believe,
Yes,
NEWZ
absolutely.
dash. And then also your conference Nest is going to be in October later this year. So anybody who is interested in news publishing, I would highly recommend. I've attended a couple of these conferences, and I can tell you the value is very high in them. So, John, it's been fantastic to speak to you today, and thank you so much for offering your opinion. And I hope to catch you soon in person at one of your meetups.
Thanks so much. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.